next, the discussion with the Reverend Morrison House. Thank you for all those that are very patiently waiting.
I know, they're good for them. Committed.
Ready?
Good, so yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was directed on March 16th, 2026 to research all the options as well as the pros and cons for each regarding future options for the Reverend Morrison Meeting House, otherwise commonly known as the Lions Hall off of Mammoth Road, the white building. As we know that there were a couple warrant articles, both were defeated on March 10th by a large number in regards to capital funding. So this memorandum incorporates the feedback that I've received from the public. There was a public engagement session on April 27th of 2026, and people have come to see me individually as well. Got a lot of really good feedback, really helpful. I came up with a list of items, and they doubled that list of options, that's why we do public engagement. So I'm not going to go through the history. You can read all that in there. I think you folks know, but the folks in the public, it's in the packet in terms of the present status of the building. We don't need to reiterate that. And there's a list of options here, and I'm going to go through each one briefly, and you can certainly ask me questions about that. And these are not necessarily in any particular priority. They're just a list. One would be to sell the property, and the process to do that would be to obtain appraisals and establish a disposition strategy, solicit proposals through a realtor, negotiate transaction documents to complete a sale. Advantages to that: eliminates long-term capital liability, transfers operating and code compliance responsibilities to that new owner, may preserve the building if preservation conditions are included, and provides immediate financial return. The disadvantages are potential public opposition regarding loss of a civic asset, reduced control of a long-term use, preservation conditions could reduce market interest, and loss of valuable public space in the downtown area, which, as you know, we have limited viable spaces for that. Number two would be to donate the property to a nonprofit or for-profit entity, and that would be defined. We define the public purpose requirements to do that, solicit proposals from qualified organizations, conduct public hearings and establish findings to support the transfer, negotiate deed restrictions, reversion rights and performance obligations. Advantages: preserves the structure while shifting financial burden, may attract organizations eligible for grants and donations, could maintain public access or programming. Disadvantages: higher legal and public policy risk, potential criticism regarding transfer of public assets, requires strong enforcement and oversight provisions, and recipients may lack the long-term financial capacity to renovate and operate the building. Number three would be demolish this structure and create a public park. Process outline would be conduct environmental testing and review, update demolition and site restoration estimates, conduct public hearings on demolition and future site use, bid and complete demolition and abatement, design and construct passive or active park amenities. Advantages: long-term structural and safety liabilities are addressed, retains a public ownership and civic use of the property, lower long-term operating costs than full rehabilitation, and allows memorialization of the site's history. Disadvantages: permanent loss of the historic structure, potentially significant public opposition, ongoing park maintenance obligations remain, could negatively affect community perception if demolition proceeds prematurely. 4, lease the property to a nonprofit or for-profit entity. And these are similar. I won't spend a whole lot of time. That's certainly an option in there that allows us a certain degree of control over it if we did that. But we'd have to make it code compliant, which of course is not right now. Work with the Braver Angels and its citizen-led solutions program. They've done this across the country. When we had some folks talk about here today, that's an option for us to ask them to have a more engaged process, and they have facilitators that do that. Advantages: builds public legitimacy and transparency, encourages collaborative problem solving, may identify hybrid approaches and community partnerships, helps engage residents not previously involved. Disadvantages: it's time intensive, recommendations are non-binding, does not resolve funding or structural issues directly, consensus may still prove to be difficult to obtain. Temporary stabilization, mothballing. This is a good idea that Dave brought up. Dave Ellis, conduct limited engineering assessment focused on preservation and stabilization. That'd be fairly limited. There wouldn't be a whole lot would have to be done there. Address moisture intrusion, drainage, roofing, ventilation, and weatherproofing. Dave is actually trying to get, I sent you a status report on that, Therian Roofing, to go up and just seal around that flashing on that chimney. Dave was in there with Ricky Robichaud during a rainstorm, and there was no rainwater coming in, which is good. So what we're thinking is the ice may be getting up underneath that in the wintertime. That may be the only time we have that issue. So if we can get that resolved, that'll prevent the water from getting in there and the mold issues and help to deal with that. Perform minimal structural reinforcement necessary for preservation, secure the building and establish periodic inspection protocols, develop fundraising and planning timeline during stabilization period. This would help, again, buy some time. Prevents further deterioration, lower cost, and full rehabilitation, preserves future options. Does not create immediate public use, still requires annual maintenance funding, deferred decision-making can create uncertainty, stabilization costs may grow if long-term plans remain unresolved. Number 7, preserve as a historic structure without prioritizing active use, pursue historic designation and preservation planning, complete essential structural and envelope repairs, limit occupancy and public access to occasional events or tours, develop interpretive signage and educational materials, establish maintenance reserve and inspection schedule. Advantages: maximizes historic preservation, lower renovation scope than full adaptive reuse. Preserves visual identity and community heritage, could support tourism educational programming. Disadvantages: building may remain underutilized, ongoing maintenance obligations continue, limited occupancy may reduce community support, difficult to justify a long-term public expenditure without active use. Community Arts Center. I'll go over the advantages and disadvantages. Creates active civic use, supports arts, culture, and community events. Could increase activity in the town center. I attended one of these actually this Sunday we had over at the barn at the Historic Society. 75 people were at that event for the Wild Apples, which was pretty, not a whole lot of communities have that. We have that here, but this could be a location where this could be done as well. May attract outside grants and sponsorships. Disadvantages: significant capital and operating costs, requires sustained programming demand, parking accessibility and code upgrades may be substantial, operational subsidies may still be required. Number 9, independent nonprofit partnership, Friends of the Meeting House, and I added a packet in the packets of information. There's a group of folks that got together and have some ideas about that. I think may talk about that more when we have the public comment session. But I included those documents in there. We got some folks that want to try to run with this and see what they can do. I met with Ray Breslin on a couple of occasions about that, and the old-fashioned putting a thermometer up there to show that money's coming in, and when other people drive by and see that, they may say, oh, every day it seems to be increasing. Maybe I want to throw some money into that process. So that was kind of the mindset that was behind that, and if we can get people to do that, and this does happen across the country, so it certainly is an option that's viable. It diversifies the funding sources, encourages volunteer engagement, community ownership, allows fundraising outside municipal limitations, provides organizational focus on preservation and programming. Disadvantages: success depends heavily on volunteer leadership capacity, which we stretch a lot in this community. Long-term sustainability may be uncertain. Town may still bear ownership risk. Governance and accountability structures must be clearly defined. And then 10, a historic preservation and grant initiative. Pursue formal listing on the New Hampshire State Registry of Historic Places. Apply to preservation-focused initiatives such as 7 to Save. Develop phased preservation priorities, identify grant opportunities and matching fund requirements, coordinate with preservation organizations and private donors. Advantages: expands eligibility for preservation funding, raises public awareness and credibility, supports phased and lower-cost preservation work, may strengthen regional partnerships. Disadvantages: grant funding is competitive and uncertain. Matching funds may still be required. Administrative and grant management workload can be significant. Does not by itself establish long-term building use. Redeveloping the buildings in a senior center, there was talk about that. That's certainly an option, although we do have an active senior center, but that was brought up in the feedback session. You can certainly look through those items there. Mixed-use civic and community market concept, which other communities have, like a farmer's market, which we really don't have here. There's a lot of interest in a lot of communities for that, and it brings a lot of people out. Encourages daily activity and occupancy, could improve long-term financial sustainability, supports economic activity within the town center, blends historic preservation with practical use. Disadvantages, complex operational and financial structure, potential neighborhood and traffic concerns. There really isn't much of a neighborhood there, but I mean, there is one house around the corner. Requires substantial renovation and modernization. Commercial viability may be uncertain. There are some communities that actually do a farmer's market in the wintertime in buildings, and there's different types of things that they do there, jams and things like that. So it could be used all year round. Some other things that came up during the public listening session. Again, I only came up with like 5 items, and these folks added 7 others. Several additional themes. Town should improve communication, branding, and public education efforts regarding the meeting house. Residents expressed interest in renaming the facility to emphasize civic rather than religious identity. There's this issue about whether this is a religious building because it's the Reverend Morrison Meeting House, and the idea was talking about maybe changing the name to the Meeting House or the Londonderry Meeting House. That might make it easier for folks to connect with that. It doesn't have a religious identity. It's not a church. It's a public building. So there's some discussion about that. Benchmarking against successful preservation projects, including Upper Village Hall in East Derry, was recommended. Participants encouraged expanded outreach to residents who have not historically engaged in the discussion. Community members emphasized the importance of presenting fully developed plans with operational details, funding strategies, and implementation timelines. Participants strongly supported exploration of volunteer labor, community fundraising, sponsorships, and preservation partnerships. Several comments emphasized that the failed warrant article should not necessarily be interpreted as a definitive rejection of preservation. Residents encouraged visible steps to improve curb appeal and public perception while long-term decisions are pending. As you saw, some folks already volunteered to do that. We have a couple of flags up there and some bunting and some flowers out front. It was looking kind of drab before. Now it's got at least some color to it. One participant proposed a facade that would look similar to what an existing meeting house might be, in construction of new facilities behind that. That's been done in other places in the United States as well as abroad. So there's a whole range of options in there. There's materials for you to think about here. And again, a whole lot of options. And the good thing is there's nothing that requires us to act on this right away. The building is there. We are going to take steps to prevent the water from getting in there. That's a really low cost. Dave was proposing to go up there with his guys with a lift, but I don't really like that idea, and that's kind of uncomfortable for guys that don't do that work to be climbing up there. It's better to get a roofer up there. It's a lot safer to go up there and just do that quick work, which he's been working on. But it's tough to get roofers this time of the year, so he's got to get them fit in there. So,
Sean has a question for you.
yes.
Oh, no, I didn't have a question.
sorry.
I just wanted,
sorry.
Counselor Paul, are you involved with the Save the Meeting House group, or,
I was at the listening session.
okay, but you're not involved with that group, that's just the public?
That's
Okay,
them.
okay.
I was at
We're
the
gonna be, are we gonna be hearing from them?
Not today.
Okay. I guess my opinion is we should give this group a chance, and that's why I asked if you were, because then I could ask you questions about it.
Well, because it would be unprofessional for me to do that.
Yeah, gotcha. So I think we should give this group a chance. I think that, it's passionate people that got together and they want to take a shot at saving a building that's very important to them and to other members of the community, and I think that we need to give them that opportunity. The thing that I would ask, probably the first thing out of that, is just, we do need to know a time frame of when they would get back to us for stuff. So the problem has been with this meeting house is that it's gone on and on and on. I mean, we've been years of trying to get this. So I'm happy to let this group take a swing at it and try to see what they can come up with and really, take that passion and drive it forward. But I do want to get us to be able to get an answer within, a reasonable amount of time. So I'd just like to hear when the time's appropriate from that group about, when they can kind of get us an update of what the plan is and what those things would be. That'd be my thought on this.
Want my 2 cents then?
Absolutely.
I believe the building should be preserved. I think we need to save it. It's in the center of our community. What I have a problem with is that this is not the only building where it's gone into disrepair. We have the library. I remember when we had the senior center. That was another issue we need to maintain our buildings, plain and simple. All right? We need to stop ignoring stuff because we're going to try to save a couple bucks on the budget. It's costing us more money now at that library if we had just kept up with everything. We saw that with the senior center. I'd like to see this group succeed. My big thing is I'm all about having a plan. I want a plan. So if this group decides, you know what, we're going to do this, give us a time frame. All right? We're by October, we're going to have you a plan out for you, and this is what we plan on doing. And lay it all out for the council. Because the last thing I want to see is us just delay. All right? And delay. It's like, okay, let's move forward and let people know out there what the plan is, how we're going to save this building. All right? And maybe people will step up and say, you know, if we have that thermometer up there, maybe people will step up and say, hey, I'm going to donate money. I don't know, maybe somebody in the community that, you know, decides they're going to leave their fortune to the building, to restore the building.
You never
That
know.
would be awesome. But, yeah, I agree. I think we need to save it. But I think we also, as a council, need to look at we are sitting up here because things have been ignored for years, okay? We have 2 fire stations that have major issues, you know? We have the Lions Hall, we have the library. Work has to be done at the PD with the roof and stuff, and the town hall. So we need to do a better job of managing our buildings.
Well, Dan, I think we might all be on the same page.
Ron?
I actually agree. Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, are
I
you
was
going to
gonna-
close it up?
Nope, nope.
Okay.
I was
You-
not- go
You
ahead.
speak your
Go ahead.
thing first, that's fine.
Deb, don't interrupt.
No, I was
We're on
gonna
the
say,
same
I think-
page.
Just wanted to
I
say
think all
something.
3 of us are on the same page, and we'll see what you have. I think,
I'll tear it down.
I think,
Sorry.
following up on what Sean and Dan said, I think I'd just like to see a plan. Let's just have you guys bring us a plan with some dates, when you can do things, when you think you'd have them ready, when you can present to us. And I think you said
Have
it.
a
I think-
public hearing.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
and let people
agree with
know
you.
this is how we want to
Yeah,
save the building.
So, 3 things I
Yeah.
wanted to
yeah, please.
bring up. I agree with you all.
Yeah,
So we should all go
there
celebrate.
we go.
Number 1. Number 2, I think that we as a board, relatively soon, should really think about putting in together a building maintenance plan, because this is a problem. And I agree with Dan. You know, we're in this state because of the willy-nilliness of it all and stuff like that. So I don't know if you want to put that on an agenda someday, Ron, for further discussion. Yeah, I think it would be really, really good to do that. And I did want you to know that there is a group in town that I am involved with. This is the Green Team. They're a nonprofit. They have been talking about a farmer's market. They wanted to use the pavilion, do it the same day as the concerts on the Commons, from like 3 to 7, kind of like Derry's, because there'll be music, it will bring people, it would be successful. I've had conversations with 4 farmers in town, and they're all willing to participate. So that was one of the things that was mentioned. That's something, and we were going to call it the Londonderry's, Londonderry Apple Way Farmers Market, creating community one market at a time. And so that was the whole pitch of it. Again, educating people on sustainability, gardening, growing their own food, embracing artisans, doing all of that sort of thing for the community, because that's part of our quality of life. That's what brings Londonderry people together. And so, you know, politics doesn't, but food does.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. And so, you know, we're in the beginning stages. Our group would love to, and I will
Yeah.
have Marge, who's the chair, talk to these people, because if they ever it takes a while to become a nonprofit, if they decide to do that, and you guys decide to do it. There's a thing called a fiscal agent, that allows, I talked to the Arts Council about it as well. So if you wish to go after a grant, but you're not a 501c3 because you're Beautify Londonderry or the Art Council or this group until you become one, you can use a fiscal agent. So in other words, they apply for the grant on your behalf because of this project, right? They apply for it. I mean, the people have to give them all the information. Then what happens is, if you get the grant, the fiscal agent takes 1%, and they give you the money. They allocate. Some of them do it, like Mackie Loeb does it for other newspapers. The New Hampshire Collaborative, who's a nonprofit. If you're not a nonprofit newspaper and you want to go after a grant, you can go through the Collaborative as a fiscal agent. They get the grant, they bring it in, they take like 5 to 10%. So if you went for a $20,000 grant, say you got awarded the grant, the agent gets a percentage or nothing, and then the people who wanted it get the rest of the
So
money.
just so we stay in the Morrison House.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying,
I'm just
do you
saying
wanna
there
put
are
this,
things out
we can
there
put this
for
on a
them.
future agenda.
Yeah.
Because, I just wanna stick with the Morrison House,
I
but
understand.
I have, I can
just
throw that
wanted
on
to
a
give you
future day, yeah.
information on that,
Yeah.
because that's,
Mr. Chair.
Good.
I just want to point out, I mean, the thing with the farmer's market, if you did something like that, if you utilize that pavilion, you know, for events, it draws attention to that building.
yeah,
And
it
then
would work
get
in
your word out.
conjunction.
So I think that would be a good thing, to try to utilize that
All right.
area.
I'm gonna ask the town manager, do you see any issue with, because I know people have asked to use public town spaces before. There's aspects of insurance and other things. You would probably know this better than me. It might not just be as easy as, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, we get a lot of people that use the green. There's a form that they fill. They provide us with insurance, and there's event insurance for different types of things. The city of Concord has their farm. They close a street down. They have it right on the public street.
Okay.
Other
So,
communities
no
have that.
issue. Awesome.
Yeah, these are things that can be done pretty fairly easily. And you just have to work with the nonprofits that are going to run it and the groups that are going to run it.
No, I think that was a great idea, because
It will help.
I like farmers markets. I think the timing is good with the concerts on the common there. That's half of it. Starting a farmers market is getting people. We got a built-in crowd. It draws attention to the building and it utilizes town spaces. I think it's, and for people attending, it's a good 2-for-1. So
Right.
that's
Well, and
awesome.
it's good for our local farms.
Yeah, yep.
I mean, not just the
Win-win-win.
big farms, I mean, the little guys, there's a lot of little tiny farms,
And I
mini
love that.
farms, I call them, in our community, which is another thing I'd like to talk to you, Ron, about, and I know it's off
Yeah.
topic, but I wanna put together an agricultural committee,
Okay,
so I'd like to have that on the agenda,
okay.
thank you.
So,
Just
Mr.
back on task, we're good.
So do we need to have a public hearing on this? Or how do you want to do this?
Well, that's what I'm gonna ask
With
is, do we wanna ask the committee to come back to us with some dates of when they can?
I think they've got to contact us when they're
That's
ready.
what I'm
I
saying.
don't know that they're ready.
Right.
When they're ready for a date, then we do, and then we can talk.
Good. Okay,
No, I was just trying to think about it real time. I mean, in the end of the day, that's kind of the first thing that we need, is to
Yeah.
know kind of.
I mean, there's no,
What
So
they're
we give them
thinking.
permission
So,
to
yeah.
put up the thing or something.
I think town manager gave him permission to put stuff up,
Okay, they,
right? So they're good with that.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can
So,
do that,
yeah.
okay, so I guess
So-
that was, I didn't hear
Yeah.
that, sorry.
Yeah,
So I think we're all in agreement, right? We
Yeah.
want a plan, we wanna save the building, we want something done with the plan.
Yeah, so when they're ready, they can contact us and we can
Wanna
have them come and.
have them come to us when they're ready?
Or, I mean, I thought it'd be nice if we just had a hearing on it, so.
Well, the town manager already had a public hearing, that's what I'm saying, he already got the input, so now we need this committee to take all the input that he got, that he gave us in this memo, and kinda tell us
Put it together.
what they would like to do with it.
So with all the options he gave us, this is the one we want to move forward
Did
with.
you want a different one?
No, I'm just.
Oh, yeah, I
I'm just
think we're all-
asking everybody else.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
like,
all in
Thinking-
agreement.
I mean, they did an amazing job on this brochure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see what else they can do. I mean, if they put this together in quick time, I'd like to see what they can do with, a couple months or so, so. Are we good with that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean,